This is Nathan Stanford Sr. and we're back on the Welcome to the CF forum. We're building a forum using ColdFusion, and I left it where it was, and that way we could start all over again. You can see the dump here. I think what I'm going to do, because you can't see the text very well right now because it's in dark mode, I think I'm going to first go back in here, go to the header, and we'll just change this to light for right now, just to help us see the debug a little better. And then let's see if I go to the home page and the place that's being dumped here, let me go back, is at the top of the email. It's dumping, let's see here, so it's going to be dumping, let's see here, login, it's above the login. Let's go find the login page, which is under partials, login, and there's our dumping the session. I'm going to remove it from here. We're going to take it back to the index page so that we can put it beneath the login, not that it has to be there. I just want the login portion to be at the top so we can work on it. And now you've got the light mode. You can't see the text over here, but you can see this here and you can read the dump a lot better. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a few changes. I want, when you register, for it to register you and put it, and when it registers you, I'm just going to go ahead and log you in. You might send an email and verify if this was a site you were putting out on the internet. So let's just start here. Let's first make a few changes. I think what I might do first, let's see here, under CFCs is where our user info is at. Let's create a user model. Let's call it user uppercase U CFC. And then let's see, I think we will we're going to do component. We're going to do a CF script component. I don't need all this. I could go Nathan Stanford. Some companies may want you to do this, and it might be a useful tool. For me, I'm going to just delete it. It's extra text I don't really want at the moment. And I'm just simply going to say user, and I think I will, let me think, user model. Nah, we'll just leave it displaying user. Okay, let's start with properties. Here, let me put this function down. Property, let's just come down here, property name, but let's start off property ID, so that way the model's holding the ID, type equals integer, that's fine. Default equals 0. So that's the first one. Okay, so next things I want to do, whoops. Cool, it's got me there. Username, password, yeah. Email, yes. Created at, this is, I'm gonna change, let me think about this. Created at is also the join date. Do I want to say join, created at, or I'll go ahead and do created at, that's fine. Let's do updated at, that's the date it was last updated. I don't know that I need that. If a user gets updated, I don't need that. Not for this tool. But let's undo and let's change this to last activity. So the last time they logged in, we will put that in here, and that will also be a date. You know what? That's the same thing as updated at. So the next time they log in, that's when we will update. Technically, it's not updated. Login. How about login? Logged in. That don't look good. Login at. That's fine. And property. Let's see here. Let's do another one. This one I want to be Boolean. So let's say property equals is authenticated, is logged in, is authenticated. Sure, why not? Just go down here and click that. Default, it's going to be false. Yeah, whenever we create this object, it's going to be false. So it's going to say they're not authenticated. We want them to start off not authenticated. Property. And in my user object, I would like to carry around. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sitting here looking at this. That's funny. Now, in case you don't know how to do that, I just did it without even thinking. If you see you've got a whole bunch of them that you need to change, you hold down Control and Alt, and you push the up arrow key, and it goes to every one of them. You hit space, name, and now that has got all of those fixed. And so we're going to put roles. And for roles, we want a type of array. Now, I haven't checked all these others. String, string, string. This one's date, date. Yeah, oh, that's right. Okay. So we want a default. Now, I've got a little trick for you if you're learning ColdFusion and you want to remember when you're trying to set a variable x equals something and y equals something, you have the square brackets and you have the curly brackets. So what you're going to do to remember which one is for arrays and which one's for structures is SACS. So squares for arrays and curly braces for structures. So if you want to memorize that, that's the way to do it. SACS, so SACS without the K. So you're going to hold SACS of arrays and structures. That's one way to think about it. SACS and we'll get rid of the K. SACS holds arrays and structures. Structures. So that will help you remember that. So up here in this, we're putting an array, and so we're putting curly braces as the default. That's why we're doing that. So if they've got one array, if they've got one role or multiple roles, we can add them all to this. They might be an administrator. They might also be a commenter, I don't know, or a moderator. They might be two or three things. So that's something you want to remember. And I think I'm going to get, I'll leave this in here. Let's move it to the bottom though. It'll be in the GitHub repo when I finally post this. So first thing you want to do when you create an object is have a constructor or an init function. And what we want to do when we're using, another thing we want to do before I do that we want any output that happens inside of this code to not show up on the web page. And we want assessors equals true. Now what that will do, if you don't understand, you'll see in a little bit, but if you do know a little bit about object-oriented programming, and if you understand that when you create an object, you have properties, you normally want setters and getters, and so what you would do is these properties here would be private properties that the only way you can access them is through these assessors by get and set. I just did this and I looked down here and I already have a init. That's kind of funny. I've got these incorrect. Squares. I put it here and then I explained it here, but yet I did it wrong. Arrays are squares. Okay, so that's fixed. So let's see here. What else can I look at? We were going to make, let's see here. So this should initialize it. Authenticate it's false. Okay, so let's first, let's go back to application.cfc. So if you're doing stuff like this and you're going to do it differently, anytime you make a big change where you need a session start to run again, there's probably more than one way. But all I do is I change the name of the form, the name of the application, I mean. For testing cycles, I do that. Instead of, you can restart the ColdFusion server. There's all kinds of things you can do. So let's just do this. CFC's dot model, I think, did we do models or model? We did models. Dot user CFC. So that's going to put that into this session variable. And then we can go back, we can go back to our home page, our index right here, where we're dumping the session. But what I also want to dump is the session.user. That's the one we just created. That's what I want to see right now. So if I go back here and I hit refresh, it crashed. Okay, hold on. Let's go back here. That's probably something I did. Let's put it back to just showing session. Let's go back here. User equals new CFC's models user. Seems like that's right. Let's go back in here and hit refresh. Maybe. Okay, so maybe in the dump. So here's the session. In here, I do not see that object that we put in there. I don't see it. So let's go back here. What I think I'm going to do so that we can test this is let's just take it totally out of the application.cfc for a minute. Come here, and what we will do, cf script, and then we'll do, let's close the cf script and paste this in here. Now when you're inside of a cf script, you can write almost every tag, pretty much every tag that you can write outside in ColdFusion. So let's just do write dump session and then go like this. And let's see if this crashes. So it crashes. So let's see here. I have user info outside of this, user info. So there might be something wrong with user, something I did. So that works. I don't know why it's doing it twice. Maybe it's got it. Yeah, I'm dumping session down here. Duh. Okay, anyway, well, I'm going to leave that down there. Let's get rid of this one up here. Okay, so what we want to do is, let's go look here. I've got component, I've got the right brackets, and I've got a function. Okay, just for now, I'm going to take out the private. I just want to see if that works. So if I'm going to do that, then I got to come back here and say, okay, we're going to look at models. And I don't think it's case sensitive, but let's look. Okay, models.user. Now, let's see what happens when we refresh the page. And of course, I pick a completely different page. I went and closed that. So it's still crashing. Okay, let me see. Let's check CFCs. We know here CFCs is going here. Why can't it find models user? Let's go back. Maybe I've got something in here wrong. Let's take out the properties completely. Okay, that's fine. Let's do that. Or maybe it doesn't like this, but that's commented out. I would think that would be okay. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's do this and see if that helps. It might. Nope. Okay, well, I'm getting rid of it. I'm sorry. You have to rewatch the video if that's the problem. Okay, so it's still not. Let's get rid of that for a minute. Oh, I got output twice in there. I bet that's could be part of the problem. Aha! Wow, I'm going to go backwards now. Let's do that. Squares for arrays. SA, squares for arrays. So the bracket, square brackets is fine. And I've got this down here and it's fine. So now let's just hit refresh. And it crashes again. What was it I took out? There was 2 outputs. And I like display name really to be first, even though you can do it without the name, and it would still work. And, okay, so that is not the only problem. Something else in here is a problem. I'm just going to take that out for a second. Oh, you know what? No, duh. I forgot what I changed, right? And let's just do this. Let's uncomment that. Tab it over 1. Not that it needs to be. It's just a habit of mine. Okay. And I think I will do this even. Not needed. Squares. Anyway, okay, whatever. Back to real work. Now, hit refresh and no. Okay. It was working a minute ago without these. So let's remove these and see if it works. And then we'll put one back at a time if we have to. That works. Okay, that's wonderful, sorta. Okay, so let's comment out all of them. No, that shouldn't matter. Let's try saving and going back, hitting reload, and it crashes. Why Does it not like this? Let's do that. And let's do this. Refresh. So it doesn't like the private. And here I thought that was what I was supposed to be doing. For right now, we'll get rid of private and we'll re-look at that at a later time. I just need this to work. And then we will check on, okay, so here we go. We've got it working. So it wasn't these comments, but you've got them saved in the GitHub now for anybody who might want to go back and look. Well, it's not saved there yet, but at least it's ready. So here we go. We got all of these things, and it's returning this. So let's see here. When we do that, it pulls back. Let's go back here. We're dumping session. Let's instead dump session user. So if we zoom in and we look at this, you can see it's got each of the variables. It's got is authenticated false, ID is 0, which will not exist in the user table. So we can do our check when they're trying to register and insert and then pass in that they were authenticated and they become logged in. Or when they do the login and they type in the correct username and password, we can turn authenticated to true. And then anywhere we're using authenticated, we will be able to use it to make decisions on what is allowed to be seen and what is not allowed to be seen. And we can have their roles in here. And if they're just a guest, then they can view, but they're not, maybe they're a guest who signed up. I don't know. I haven't thought it through yet, but let's just say we are going to set up roles. And if you're a moderator, you might see a link next to all of everything that you can moderate a particular discussion that's going on. But we're going to keep focusing on this top right-hand corner and try to get as much done as we can before I call it a night. I've got plenty of things to think about. So let's see here. What am I going to do next? What I want to do next, this is great that this is there, so I don't have to show it right now. But I do want this. I'm going to get rid of that. And actually, let's leave the dump. Let's go back to application. And let's compare these two real quick. Make sure we don't have anything set wrong. Everything's set right, so we should not have to do that. And just in case, I'm actually going to change, so it will restart the session. And I'm just going to hit refresh, and still we got our dump. Okay, so I'm going to go take the dump out for now. If we end up needing it, we can put it back. Okay, so what we want to do when they come to this page, let's see here. They come to this page, we want them to be able to see the login because they're not logged in yet. So let's just register because we want to register. What I'm thinking when we go to register, let's go look at the register. Register. This register is going to be sending it to submit user, which is here. And we're going to insert the person into these tables, into this table, the member table. Let's go look at the database. Now, here's one thing that's cool. If you're using Laragon, like I have been in most of my videos, and I turn it on, it also turns the database on, which you don't have to use the database tool that comes, which we'll just click and look at real quick. You don't have to use this database. I can click in here and I don't have to use this database tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to close it. I didn't put the query in, so of course not. So I closed that. And we're going to instead click on Azure Data Studio. What's nice about Azure Data Studio is it's a lot like VS Code. In fact, the back end is pretty much the exact same as VS Code. So you have snippets, you have GitHub or version control, you have extensions that you can install, and you can put it in GitHub, all your different things. Let's see here. I don't really want to use notebooks, so let's turn that off. Database projects. For right now, I don't really want to see that. What's this icon? That's the Explorer. That's extensions. I guess I'll move that back down. This is the File Explorer. That's the search. Okay, and that's the database connections. So I'm going to have to, here, let's see here. What is all of this? This is users table, not members. So I'm going to close, cancel. This is, yes, I'm going to close that. And I'm going to close that. And then I'm going to close that. We're going to open up all of our connections, which we have just the one to the local host. Here's all the databases. And we've been using, for our ColdFusion form, I think we started using this. Yeah, we have member right here. And then I can right click and select all. And you see there's literally 2 members. Now, the bad thing about these 2 members, we'll be deleting them and re-adding them. Yeah, okay, because the password is not hashed. We really want to hash the password, so if someone opens the database, they do not know what the password is. Now, I'm not showing you all the different ways to hash. I'm just going to pick one and use it and show you, but there's multiple ways to do hash. So, one of the things we want to do is when we go to do this insert, let's actually, right above that, debug, turn off the showing the debug, let's do a CF dump. In fact, I have CF dump, I have that little bit of code. We're going to dump the form, and then CF dump, we're going to dump the URL, and then we're going to do CF abort, so that it will stop. It will just do both of those and it will not do the insert. So now if I say register, and I'm actually going to put in fake data if it will do it, and it did. So I don't even know what the password is. It's got a username. I'm going to hit register, and it comes here that shows you the password, the username, and everything. So we can see the username, the email, and the password. And if you notice, there's 2 dumps. So it was the first dump. So now you know it's coming from the form. So that's the place it's coming from. So we're going to be inserting all that data in here, which if we went ahead and inserted now, it would work. In fact, let's do that, and then we'll do another one where it won't work. So if I delete this, we've got username, email, and password and form. So let's see here. We got username, password, and email and form. So if I simply go ahead and hit refresh, register, and I say put in some fake data for me, and then I say submit. Now I set this hard code to a session variable so that I could display it. So that's the goal of what we want. If we go back to our Data Studio and I hit, we don't really need a limit to the top 1000. Plus I need to fix this font. Lord, it's bad for me, much less for you guys. Setting, let's make it 22. That's probably plenty big. Now let's go back here and look. The font's there. I forget how to do the, let's see here, results table. Let's see if there's any other fonts. Let's just type font. And then we'll take this 22. I'm going to copy it. Anything else that's Input font controls the font size for the input message in pixels. Oh, no, just to make it 22. I don't know if that's right. Controls the font in the screencast mode keyboard. That'll leave alone. Preview font size for markdown. I'm going to make it big. I'm thinking maybe that one. And let's do that one for the grid, which I think is down below. Font size for the editor. I'm going to assume that's all. So let's close the settings. This is bigger now. Let's hit run. Well, I guess it's a little too big because it didn't change the size here. Let's font. Let's change it to 18 and then we'll go see. Is this the one? Nope. Kind of thought it might not be, but wanted to check it. Preview font 18. Okay, so it's definitely not that one. Integrated font size, let's say 18. Still not the right one. And this might be it because it says results. Let's just do that. Hit refresh. I'm going to make it smaller than that. Let's make it 14. And now we can see them. That's going to have to work for right now. I don't have time to figure out where the rest of the stuff goes. So now we've got the list of the ones we just did, and here's the new fake one we just added. But once again, it's not hashing the password. So what we need to do, let's go back here and let's look. We got utils here. So we're going to say new, and we're going to say, let's see, password hash. I think that'll be good enough for me. You know, I think I'm going to name it hasher, password hasher. So now let's move this, make it a little bigger. So what we want to do is simply create another component, and we'll get rid of all this, and we want this output. Let's put it over here, and it's called password, hasher. And then what do we want to do? I don't even need an init for this particular one because I'm not using it that way. Let's just see. What does this give us? Do I like this? Compare passwords. Yeah, that's good. Hash password. I was thinking a 256. So the password, I'm not sure. Right now it matters, but I'm going to do this. Maybe somebody will tell me if I even needed to do this. In fact, probably I should. If I make it work, then I could delete it and compare the two and see what happens. If I do that, we're going to hash the password like up here and compare the two, and this will return true or false. Okay, cool. I like that. So let's save. And now what I want to do is on submit user, I want to hash the password. And let's do something up here first. CF script. Let me think about this. CF script. CF script. and we want to say hashed password. We know it's coming in. Hold on. This is going to be the function. So password hasher doesn't have to be called that. New cfc.util.password hasher. So this gets our functions for us. And then I'm going to want to cf abort because I want to do a quick test. I'm going to do the word test. I'm going to move it up here. Test 2. Now this will let us know that it actually ran. So over here, what page is that on? Oh, this is on the insert. I will bring it back here, but first I want to test it here so we can see it. And I don't even have to abort because we're not doing any extra functions. Let's refresh. So here's test. Test work, but this didn't. So let's just see. Oh, I think it's utils with an S. Utils, and that is correct now. Go back here, hit refresh. I'm still not seeing it, so let's see. What am I doing wrong? Oh, I don't think it matters about the case. I'm even going to name this test. Oh, duh, right there in front of me. You got to say new. You want a new copy, a new instance of this password hasher function. Probably not sure I want to name it password hash. I don't know what's best to name it. Let me think for a second. Okay, I thought about it for a minute. Asked a friend. I think I'm going to call it P hasher. Whoop-de-doo. I don't even like the P hasher. I'm going to say pass hasher. I'm going to go back to password hasher because you shouldn't be making words that people don't know what are. So now, once again, we're back to this. So let's see. If now with the new, it should work, I think. And I'm wrong. What am I doing wrong here? CFCs. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's CFCs. Here I am setting here. I even set it, but then didn't realize. There we go. Okay. So now it's set the password hasher. So let's just make up a password. And we will say, we'll just hash this password. And then we will cf output this new password. Okay, and then we can go, whoops, paste, and then we can maybe try comparing it again in a minute. Let's hit refresh. So there's this hashed password. And so now we want to see, well, what happens when we call this function compare passwords. So if we go back here to the index and we say, okay, what we want to do is say let's do this. Let's do okay, so this is the current hash password, HR. And we want to see what comes back, Boolean, true or false. So we're going to say password hasher we're going to do that, and we're going to say single quote. Oh, wait. Dot password compare passwords, and it's going to be password. Hold on. Does it say? So the first one is password. The second one is the hashed password. So we can just pass them in the correct order. So if we take the hashed password, comma, paste that in, and we want to do a CF dump of that so we can see if it's coming out true or false. Let's hit refresh, and instead of saying true false, it says yes. That's fine with me, but it is good to know. So let's just take this and see what happens if I'm not using CF dump. Oh, I'm inside CF output, so let's just do that. Go back. So we'll see what happens. Does that stay yes? Sure does. And what we can do is say, okay, what if the password was wrong? Go over here, hit refresh. Now it says no. So we've got our password hashing working so that we can make changes. So let's copy these two lines. I'm going to delete all of that because we can recreate it if we had to, which hopefully I don't forget and have to. So here you're actually submitting the user. So what we want to do, script. Now, if you don't want to use tags, if you don't want to use CF script, and you want to use tags, you could do CF set, paste, I think you might have to invoke. Yeah, I'm not even going to do that. I would do it this way, just out of habit. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take this form password here, and we're going to want to pass it in to our function, our password hasher. We're going to tell it to go please hash this, make hash browns out of this password, please. So now that we have the hashed password that we're going to be inserting, we can come back down here and put that there. Now we will have a hashed password that's coming from the form. And so this should work now, and we actually insert with the hashed password. So let's go back here, and let's first hit refresh, which gets rid of all that. We're going to register. We're going to pick a brand new person. We're going to let something else fill it in. Ugly email, but who cares? We don't know what the password is. We hit register. So we'll probably never be able to log in as that person because we don't now know what the actual password is. And when we hit run, we can see we have a new login, and you can tell that this one's hashed and that these are not. So now, just for grins, let's create a new user that uses the word password. And let's go hit refresh because we don't yet have it true logging us in. This is just getting it started. Let's say top dog. I don't remember. Was that, because I know you typed that in earlier. Is the, you know what? I shouldn't have worried about it. Web wizard. So it's not. So just before I do that, I'll say web wizard. And it tells me I can't use that. And it disables the register. So I delete that and I put in top dog, still there, still available. And I would say for email, I'm going to say topdog@test.com. And we're going to put in the word password. Trust me, that's what I'm doing. Hit register. Now let's go back and look at the database and refresh. Now we have top dog, and now it has a hashed password. So when we go to compare it, we'll be able to. So I want to delete these first three, but technically let's not. Let's just truncate them all. Truncate table member. I think you tell it table. And now, I got foreign key constraints in there. Select all from member. Let's go look. So I have foreign key constraints stopping me from deleting this. I'm going to, for right now, I'm going to copy this and say update member, because I don't feel like changing it. I'm going to set password equal where, actually I'm going to leave out the where, so it'll reset all of them to the exact same. Top dog, I know I typed password, so I'm just going to do that. And this is a dangerous thing because it's going to update all of them to password. When you're normally coding, you want to have a where member ID equals 1. That way you're only updating 1. And another thing I recommend, out of the abundance of caution, I recommend that you always do this first. Verify this, run that, and make sure you're on a tool that only runs what you've highlighted. In case this tool doesn't, you can always, since this is like VS Code, you can hold down the control key in Windows, the control key and the /, and it will comment those out so that you don't have to even highlight. You can just hit run. So now it's ran and got the first one, so I know it's only going to update the first one. And then I'm going to copy this and paste it down below. This is overkill. This is me. This is one thing I learned over the years, that in case I make a mistake, I like to see it right away so I can jump on and let everybody know I just messed up. You get more points for telling them in advance instead of waiting for them to come to you and say, did you break all this? Just go ahead and tell them you did. Yep, sure did. Sorry. And then that kind of helps the situation. So we've got it where it's telling us before the update and after the update. So now I can do this, and we can simply tab that over too, not that it matters. And we're going to simply run this, and it's going to do the first query, then the second, then the third. So in the first one, we have password. In the second one, we have the hashed password. So now, if I were doing this, I could literally update. I could log in as Night Coder. Now, what you can do is, and I don't recommend this, but just for this situation, it's my data. There's just a few, and I could always dump all the data. Now I just reset the password for all of them. And then another thing that seems crazy that I like to do is I like to comment this out. So that way, if I ever accidentally come to this page and I accidentally hit run, no big deal. I don't really need to save this query. It's not like I'm never going to be able to figure out how to do this query again. So let's actually get rid of the where. Let's come down here, get rid of this, and now you should see they're all set to the same password. This is for us for testing. So when we start to log in later, we'll make sure all of them have the same password so we can log into whoever we want. So we can see what role A looks like, what role B looks like, what a moderator looks like, and that's part of your testing So I'm going to stop at this point. I'll work on another video, and we'll see you on the next video.